5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to What's the Buzz? I am your host, Beamy. Happy Tuesday to you, coming live from Austin, Texas. On the other side of that freeze we went through. Still people without power. Not even expected to get power till Friday, they said, which is like, we were not prepared for that, were we? Over 3/4 of an inch of ice accumulation in the books. It's been melted, and we are getting set for some storms coming in tonight. Some rain. So we did not have a Friday show like we had anticipated, and we also did not have a Monday show yesterday, but we are kicking off our week today with our Tuesday show. So today is February 7th, 2023. I mentioned in some past episodes that there may be coming some format changes. That's kind of being implemented in today's show. And I'll get to that in just a second. But Friday, we did not have a show. Honestly, I was just, trying to find some work, trying to stay above ground, and I hadn't eaten a whole lot in that week, and I finally got some food in me yesterday, and I had a little breakfast this morning, so I'm kind of on that snake diet where I don't get to eat much for a bit, and then I get the opportunity to eat, and I fill up, and then try to make it through the next few days or whatever. So I just was struggling to feel like I had energy or could give what I wanted to give to this show and to the people and to myself. So I took some time away. I took Friday and the weekend and Monday to really go within and look at myself, look at my goals, look at how I feel, and what I felt like I could do moving forward. And so today is we're gonna, of course, I'm joined by my co-hosts Amber and Nova, who are getting pretty feisty and ready to take on the day. But they were cooped up in the cold weather, but we had a fun day yesterday, and we're gonna play in the rain a little bit after this today as well. But I reflected on how the show has gone thus far and ways that I think it could be better or even smoother, and so we're still doing our high five topics of the day for now, but I had been coming at each show with a main theme that I made up or that I just felt came to me prior to the show for each day, and then I would seek out news stories and topics that fit that theme that I had come up with, and I decided that moving forward, we're going to let the headlines and the news and the way that the day unfolds dictate what the theme of the show is. That way it's a little more open and a little more just kind of reflective of the actual day. We're not trying to control the headlines or control the narratives or control the energy. We are allowing the energy and the news and the headlines and the way the day unfolds to see how we feel about it and how it makes us talk, and what conversations and discussions we are led to from that. And also just, seeing how, as I've kind of mentioned before, seeing how the collective and the reporting of certain stories or certain topics continues to evolve in our media and in our in our world in the days, weeks, and months and years ahead. So that's kind of the idea. So today, also I did just want to give a follow-up. I mentioned that I would if I heard any follow-up, and you've probably heard it by now. But we reported a story about how many terrible things have been going on at the Dallas Zoo. Most recently, 2 monkeys were stolen from their enclosure after their enclosure was cut open. There was an endangered buzzard or vulture named Pin that was murdered at about 34 years of age in the zoo. I had so many questions. I still have so many questions. They haven't really released much info other than that the monkeys were found in uh, a closet of an abandoned home, and that the suspect or person of interest that they had received tips about him being in the area has been is in custody. Um, Now I have a question: where are there abandoned homes, and what does that mean? Is there like a couch and a bed and a kitchen in there? Or is it just empty? And who owns abandoned homes? And is the abandoned home that they found the monkeys in the home of the guy who stole the monkeys, or did he just know of this like, does that mean there's no ownership or obviously there's no one living there? If that, I'm assuming. Like, I don't understand. I also don't understand how this guy did what he did as long as he did, if he was indeed also in the one doing the other things that were going on at the zoo. But anyways, that's all I can report on the follow-up of that story. Let's go ahead and jump into our high five topics of the day, beginning with our local news story of the day, which, excitingly enough, is about the weather. Thunderstorms are expected tonight into tomorrow morning, with a up to three-quarters of an inch of rain expected in some areas. 50s and 60s expected over the next couple of days. We, I think the ice melting, I think our grounds are a little bit more saturated, more than they had been. So I think that probably elevates the risk of flooding. And, downpours just keep. Yeah, we'll see how intense the storms actually are. Of course, as always, they say that the storms will be more impactful east of I-35. But that we're supposed to get potentially like 36 hours of rain. It actually has already started raining a bit off and on, as this kind of low pressure moves into our area, but it's supposed to come more overnight. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all expected to be mostly sunny, and a stronger cold front is going to be coming in late Friday into Saturday morning, and that is going to drop our Saturday lows to back to freezing or even below, and our high Friday is mid 50s. And just as I say that, the rain has started up again. And Nova is going crazy back here playing with her toy. But yeah, always could use some more rain here in the area. I haven't seen a legitimate like like full force thunderstorm in quite a while. I have been really excited about this chance of rain, and not just rain, but storms and downpours. I love that kind of weather, and I've missed it. I've seen some of the craziest storms of my life in the last couple of years, some in Colorado, some in Arizona, and some in San Antonio and here in Texas. And man, it feels like it's been a while, and it feels like uh, we're due. I don't know. I love storms, so I think I was born in a storm. I mean, I know I was born in a storm, actually. A full moon, a very intense full moon in 1995. Yeah. Anyways, let's go to our topic number 2, which is our world news story of the day, which I wasn't going to report on this, but I just, it feels like there's some sort of personal connection with it all for some reason. Sad to report that over 5,200 people are dead after an earthquake. 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck Turkey and Syria on Monday, followed by multiple 7.0 or higher magnitude aftershocks. They're also dealing with freezing weather and rain, which is making the cleanup and the recovery more difficult. Thousands are buried under rubble trying to make it. And something I found interesting about just this area that some may not know is that it's the land of the former Babylon Empire. It's known over, history as one of the hubs for child sacrifice, which a lot of that stuff happens underground. This was one of the strongest quakes in that area in over 100 years. And I mean, the relief efforts are just underway, and really the weather going on over there is not like it's over. Like this is the end of the story. So just a crazy thing going on there. It's also, this earthquake happened at the full moon, which is telling. Yeah, just my crazy story about this is that night, I believe it was, the night that the earthquake happened. I didn't know about it. I went to sleep, and that night I dreamed one of the most vivid and intense dreams I've had in a long time, possibly ever, just in this way. But basically, like, there was like these ropes of there. It was kind of like TNT or dynamite or whatever, like from Looney Tunes, that got on fire, and then they all went underground, so no one had access to them, and it just basically led to these bombs, and everyone took off running, and I was just sprinting, and everyone was sprinting away, and behind me, like coming closer towards me, underground was just like explosion after explosion after explosion, the biggest like line of bombs detonating one after another, and everything was just exploding and shaking and tumbling all around me, and I was just booking it with everyone else. And I basically woke up after like the fourth or fifth or sixth explosion, and everything's shaking, and I woke up and thought, man, that's probably what an earthquake feels like, something like that. And I've never experienced an earthquake, but I woke up and was just like, man, I wonder what that means to me. Is my whole world changing? Like, what is that supposed to mean? Not every time do I wake up and think about whatever dream I just dreamed, like, oh, what does that mean? But that it felt like it was something more to it. And I woke up and I looked at the reports and saw that at that time they had reported that over 1,600 people were dead in Turkey and Syria after a gigantic earthquake. I still don't fully understand all of that. But I just wanted to share. So, our high five topic number 3 is our entertainment news story of the day, which we're going to cover who in the Super Bowl is a Texan. There's multiple players playing in the Super Bowl who are from Texas, not the Houston Texans, because they are with the second pick in the NFL draft and very much not in the Super Bowl, but who was born in Texas, both quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs and Jalen Hurts for the Eagles, were uh, born in Texas. Mahomes in Tyler and Jalen Hurts in Houston. Also, I didn't know this, but if you're a Longhorn fan out there, you might find this interesting. Former Longhorn and SMU quarterback Shane Buechele is the third string quarterback on the Chiefs, and he is from Arlington. Linebackers, Nick Bolton and of the Chiefs, and Nick Bolton is from Frisco, and for the Eagles, Kyron Johnson is from Arlington. Chiefs running back Ronald Jones is from McKinney, and defensive tackles for the Chiefs, I believe. Milton Williams is from Crowley, and Marvin Wilson is from Houston. Another Super Bowl note that I find really interesting. I've just learned a lot about like ancient history and biblical history and religion and stuff in the last few years, and I always find that stuff really interesting. And one of the topics around the Super Bowl is that the He Gets Us campaign, which is a Jesus focused campaign. He Gets Us Jesus ads are spent billions for the Super Bowl advertising. So during the Super Bowl, there's supposed to be multiple ads saying, maybe you've seen I've seen some billboards of the He Gets Us thing, trying to make Jesus relatable to everyday people. Like there's a billboard that says, Jesus hated politics too. HeGetsUs.com. I don't think Jesus hated anything, but that's what the billboard says. That's kind of the goal and focus of the ad, is to try to make him relate to what we experience in today's world, which I mean is fair. Jesus did, stand against, or at least call out, some of the leaders and the ways that they were dividing and politicizing and monetizing things that don't naturally exist that way, and enslaving the people. But one of the interesting things about this whole thing is, to me, is how some of the Nova is going off back there. Some of the they've tried to make this a very private thing on who exactly is behind it and funding it. But I did find out that the Green family, who are the family behind Hobby Lobby, is one of the main donors, and along with a couple other like private donors. But they don't really want to talk about, or the focus to be, who is funding it and what agenda they have, because they want the focus, they say, to be on Jesus. I find that really interesting, because one of the talking points about it was that they were saying that they want Jesus to appeal to all people, gay, lesbian, straight, trans, whatever, and yet Hobby Lobby is one of the people pushing this, who got exposed years ago for like kind of like Chick-fil-A, funding like organizations and things that oppress the gay and minority. Anyways, just a little tidbit there about the Super Bowl. Our high five topic number 4 is our jam of the day, and I actually forgot to pick a jam of the day, so we're gonna wing it right now. What's a good tune for today? How about something that is good for the rain, huh? Yeah, Novers? Let's see. How about Follow the Sun by Xavier Rudd? He's an Australian multi-instrumentalist, didgeridoo player. I think my dad was the one that introduced me to him, or at least knew about. I think I found him on my own after my dad died, but then I found out that my dad listened to him. I think I discovered him like shuffling on Spotify back when I had that in high school. But yeah, great musician, great song. So that'll be linked down below, along with all of the news stories that we covered in today's show. And my closing message to you today is to not allow everything to be seen through such a negative lens. There's so many different lenses and stories to tell and spectrums and truths and sides to every story. And when you look at one story and you read it, it's through such a one-dimensional side of that story. And that same exact story could be rewritten with a different intention or a different side angle of it and feel completely different. So, the truth of the news or the truth of reporting or the truth of these headlines or the truth of these stories really is within you and how you truly resonate with it and where you feel it lies. And I think we get better at our own discernment and knowing like what the heck we even think or feel through just calming ourselves, finding peace, breathing, and going still and quiet to even hear within. If we're constantly buzzing with the energy of electronics and phones and computers and TV and media, like I've stayed with some friends briefly and stuff like that I hardly ever saw their eyes look up from a screen. They either were watching shows on their phone as they got ready in the morning and then came home and watched something else on their big TV on the wall, and then worked all day on a laptop talking to people through, a screen and editing whatever on their computer. And I was just like, man, I get it. I do the same thing. Like I do work on the laptop. I, you know, share music and stuff through a phone and whatnot. But I'm outside most of the day, like way more than 50% of the day, or I'm looking outside like all of the day. And I just don't. The world is in front of us, and that's the whole thing with social media. Like I've unfollowed a couple people, not because I'm like, oh, screw them or whatever, but like I didn't get social media again. I was off it for like a couple years. I didn't get it to have pen pals who live in the same town as me. I didn't get it to keep up with very uh minuscule and minimal uh pictures of someone's life that I, used to go eat and have lunch with and actually get to know what was going on in their life. And those who I still do that with, I do follow on social media because I see that aspect of their lives and, we support each other, but I actually learn about them and what's up with them and like we're friends because we get together. And I just think that getting lunch together and sharing like 30 to minutes to an hour of your day with somebody is what eh, like what a relationship is when you have friends in town. And obviously the friends that aren't in town, you can't do that with, and that's one of the benefits of social media is keeping in touch at a distance for those who can't be next to you all the time. But at the same time, I would hope that if one of them came to town, we would go get lunch and we wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I saw you went to that place on where you checked in on your Instagram story. Um, anyways, yeah, my closing message to you is just to realize that there's more going on than we're told and than we're communicated, and there may actually be some good to the bad. And light is in everything. There's really no darkness. Everything is an expression of from source and from light. And keep your heads up. We're in for turbulent times and some wild things ahead, but we will get through it together, and we will be stronger and wiser and happier for it in the end. So thanks for tuning in for today's show. I am Beamy. You can follow me at Beamy Music on Instagram and YouTube. You can find my website, beami.earth. where I have all my music, some interviews, some writings, some everything, whatever you could want. You can also text me, text beami, beami, to 747-777-2438. That is 777, or sorry, let me restart that. 747-777-2438. And you can keep up to date on all new alerts on new content, releases, music, and all of that good stuff. On behalf of Nova and Amber, who's very ready to go play outside, I am Beamy, and we will catch you tomorrow for our middle of the week Wednesday show. Have a terrific time. Enjoy the storms tonight and tomorrow morning. And yeah, peace. Love and light. Good night. That's